you hear about Kanye? You hear what Kanye's been doing?
No, I didn't hear that, man. But let me know what's up.
Yo, Kanye's all over the news, man. He the other day, Kanye was going on these Twitter rants, right? Basically just building people up, saying how, you gotta like, don't worry about what people think, and you kind of have to like, don't be creative. And he's talking about how like, don't worry that people are stealing your ideas. Just get your ideas out there. You probably stole the idea from somebody else anyway.
Sure.
And he does that for like 2 days, right? And everybody's like, oh man, Kanye's dropping an album soon. He's definitely dropping an album because he's like back on Twitter, because he doesn't hang out on Twitter all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, like the second day of his Twitter ranting, he announces him and Kid Cudi are going to be doing an album. And everybody's like, yeah, we knew it. Cudi's doing an album with Kanye. And then Kanye's like, yeah, I got a couple more albums in the works, blah, blah. But then on the third day, Kanye gets controversial.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts tweeting out like, first of all, there are some very smart, intelligent, young people that are activists that are black, that are on the other side of Black Lives Matter. They're the anti-Black Lives Matter, right?
Okay.
So there's this girl her name is Candace Owens, right? And she makes her rounds. She does a lot of speaking events and stuff like that. Anyway, she's got this her idea is that she grew up in a household where the typical Democratic, like, black family, we vote Democrat, we support that, like they support that. They don't, how that whole theory about how like they can't be black Republicans, they're Uncle Toms, all that crap. She grew up in that kind of lifestyle, right? And she went to college, and then she said that she felt that like there had to be more out there than always following in line with like, oh, we're black, we vote Democratic,
Mm-hmm.
So she started looking into it, and she said that she swallowed the red pill, like the Matrix, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how like she was enlightened. And now she goes out and she speaks and she talks about how like the Black Lives Matter kids are basically they're following a trend of mental enslavement, right? That slavery existed hundreds of years ago, but there is this whole movement of always playing the victim, and it's a victim's mentality. And that she's trying to say that no, if you're setting yourself up in this victim mentality, you're always going to fail.
Very
right?
true.
Like, the cards are technically stacked against you, but then you're playing into it. Like you're just lining yourself up for it. You're not doing anything to get out of it, right? You're like, that's why you have generations and generations of welfare, and
exactly.
like it's like people give up, right? So she's trying to say, no, you can't think that way. You have to, think bigger, right? Don't be constricted to what you think.
It's true. It's true, because I'll tell you yesterday, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll tell you yesterday, I was talking with my cousin, and like most people in my family, and probably a lot of families, it's like, oh, well, go get yourself, go to college, and then after that, you get yourself a job with the the government or with the town, and then after that, you retire 20 years later, and that's it. It's a mentality. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so she says that's how her whole thing is, right? And she's kind of against the whole stereotype that like the only way out is to play basketball or rap.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's got this idea that like you can't enslave yourself to these whole like these what basically has become a norm, right? And it's accepted, right? So she said it's like it's a mental slave mentality, right? So Kanye, in his whole Twittering, he's going crazy. He tweets out that her name is Candace Owens. He tweets out, "I like the way Candace Owens thinks." So people, you know how Black Twitter is, right? They jump all over him, calling him all these names, blah blah. He's a sellout, blah blah blah. And he starts explaining. But he starts explaining himself, and he explains on Twitter that this is the problem: is that you're living in this mental enslavement. And he's trying to tell people that, no, well, I'm saying I like the way she thinks because the topics she's bringing up need to be talked about. You can't enslave yourself because, like he's saying, without basically, if you're going to enslave yourself, you're not going to have great people doing great things, because everybody's going to think that like, oh, my life's over, I might as well just go do drugs and go to jail.
It's true, man, because like, for instance, say even right now, it's like this with all communities, I think. Say if you told somebody right now you're going to go start a business, don't they look at you sideways?
Yeah, of course.
Like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's not just black people. It's
everybody.
World. Yeah, it's the whole world. Go ahead, sorry.
So they were attacking him, and he was fighting back on Twitter. But since it was this thing where, you know, she's known in certain circles and he's known all around the world, and he's defending her, that brought in, now you have black people battling each other on different sides of saying, hey, you know, you got to get out of the mental enslavement. The other side saying, no, it's horrible. We are victims. So then now it's all over national TV. Everybody's talking about it. About, hey, did you hear what Kanye said? And it's interesting because I heard some people say, and this is no lie, and this kind of baffled me. Some people said that Kanye is trolling and Candace is a troll.
Actually, I don't think that's trolling.
But they're saying that they don't really. These are what people saying, that they don't really believe the statements they are making. They're just doing it for money. And I'm like, to think that way is nuts, because Kanye don't need to do that stuff for money. And you know, there are other people that think like Candace. You know what I mean? Like,
I think like Candace.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there are a lot of people, but the thing is, I'm
about to get hung, man.
Yeah, I'll have to put you up on her. I'll send you links to her videos.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that she's been on, where she talks about this. But the thing is, so now you have people debating, like, what's appropriate for black people to say about other black people, and of course white America is sitting going, look at this shit. Exactly, white America's going, look at this shit. They're battling each other. You know what I mean? Like one side's telling the other ones to keep it real, the other one's going, you need to wake up. You know, like, and everyone. And the thing is,
but you know, it's crazy. Both sides are right to a point.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Have to see the middle. You have to see the middle. I'm in the middle, actually. I see both sides.
There's truth in the middle. That's the thing. There's truth in the middle. It's just a matter of, you know, sometimes you got to say something a little further over the edge to get a reaction out of the other side. Yeah. Now, and the thing is, it's just funny that, you know, you have like the Black Lives Matter kids, right? Now, the thing about them is that was a movement, right? But then that movement lived on. And the thing was, when that movement started, there was like 3 core kids who were like the face of the movement. But then like those 3 kids were like fighting with each other during the movement. Remember down in Baltimore, they were fighting with each other because they wanted the spotlight for each of them. They all wanted to profit off of it. Well, if it's a movement for the better of the black community, why do you care about money?
Most of these movements, I'll tell you this, man, most of these movements, whether white or black, are created by even the higher levels of society. But I'm not going to go too much conspiracy theorist on it right now because people think I'm crazy. But you know how I think, Chris, because you think something very similar.
All those movements are funded by certain groups, 100%, and it's by very powerful, rich people who want to move. It's called social engineering. They want to move society in one direction, and they put their money behind it.
It keeps people in control.
It's just like elections in the United States. It's all about money. Whoever has the most money can pull the most influence, because you're pounding people with messages that are not true. Most of the shit's false, but it doesn't matter because you beat it into people's head. They believe it. You know, that's how, like, look at kids who are mentally abused, right? They're tormented by words when they're kids growing up to the point where they believe it. They believe they're worthless. They believe that they're no good. They believe they're no better than they'll never be better than, you know, this or that. And that's what basically, you know, campaigning's like. With all the money they pump into elections, they're beating the everyday person who has a busy life, who doesn't have time to find out the real information, doesn't have time to do their own research. They're going to take the headlines and the little clips on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. Right. They're going to run with it as gospel. Like, he did that. Meanwhile, it's totally false. But the thing is, everybody's talking about it, and it's funny because, you know, you can go on YouTube and you can find clips of like people that put together all these insane clips of like how all these.
They're deleting those now.
Right. Well, but you can go on. You can find like how like an organization will put together how like every news network that's for one side all use the same information the same way. They use the same catchwords, the same phrases. Like they pick hot button topics and they run with that word for like a full week just to beat it into you. You know, like they beat you down.
But I tell you guys, definitely go look up all these videos now because they're taking them down. And you got to think to yourself, why are they taking them down?
Right, exactly. They don't want you to know.
Exactly.
Trying to kill the truth, you know? And that's the thing. So, like, Kanye says all that. He creates all this big stir. So that's going on right now, right? And it just makes people think, like, you know, what's the real? Like, are we just being played? Like, everybody's being played, right?